Cultural competence project number 3, sharing with the community. Self-speaking video number 2. This is the employee training process, and this is Amy Smith. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining, everyone. I want to talk about cultural competence today. It's in regard to a new partnership that we have joined with Society for New Americans, and I'm going to refer to it as SNA. They are a not-profit organization that helps new immigrants when they come to the United States to develop and establish their communities. SNA is really focused on giving them the opportunity for education or access to education. And we are joining SNA to help provide bicycles for those communities so that they can have access to transportation. So again, if you have questions, you're welcome to stop me during the conversation. We have about 4 or 5 slides here that I'm going to share with you. They're in front of you. You're welcome to take notes, and we'll just kind of go from there. So in the first slide, you'll see the definition, and cultural competence is defined many different ways. In my research, I found the one that really covers it kind of globally. So we're talking about valuing diversity, the capacity for self-assessment, so understanding your own culture, being conscious of the other cultures and how they interact with one another. Having knowledge behind the different cultures is very important, and adapting to the understanding of cultural diversity. So all of these reflect different attitudes and structures of all organizations and worldwide. So we're talking politics, we're talking interpersonal relationships at different schools, also within our organization specifically. In the first box, I've kind of given you some different examples of impacts on culture. And the first one is body language and personal activities, as well as beliefs and behaviors and body language. Gives you an idea that music is kind of typically understood across different cultures. The beat, the sound, the dynamics. Some multicultures can understand and relate to music in the same way. And then our partnership with the Society for New Americans is basically, I'm going to share with them the educational resources that we've created for us internally, let them know about our own self-assessments and how we've done research behind the different cultures that we'll be working with, because they had some concerns on the partnership and how we would deal with the dynamics of that. So excited. We're going to help you any way we can so that you can address the different cultures in the proper manner, and this will be a very successful partnership. Several verbal and nonverbal cues you can consider. I'm going to share a couple of those. Nodding the head up and down would generally mean yes to us, whereas in the Middle East, nodding the head upward means, okay, I agree, and downward means that they disagree. So up and down doesn't mean yes to them. One means yes and one means maybe no. Also, a raised voice. In European American cultures, some show more passion to a subject where they're raising their voice. And, here in America, we may think that it's offensive or that they're yelling. So a couple of great examples there. The next slide talks about culture and relationships. And these give a couple of examples where I shared a couple that are real. I'm just going to share with you Exhibit A, where it talks about the college students that they meet at college. A couple students meet at college, and in their final year of school, they decide they're going to get married when they graduate. One comes from a rural Idaho farm community. The other comes from a thriving city. And as they get married, they realize that they're going to move out to the family's farm in this rural Idaho community. And once the wife from the city gets out there the first couple of weeks after they get married and lives there, she realizes that, she's kind of in a culture shock, because the silence for her, where she thought it was going to be relief and relaxing from the city hustle and bustle, she actually gets very, the silence is unsettling. So adjusting to that could be quite a culture shock, and just gives you a little example there. There's a couple other examples I'll let you share on your own. And anyone else experienced any type of culture shock? Oh, that's a great example. What he was saying is that when he went to school in New York, and being from a rural farm community, he went to school in New York where it was very, very crazy, and went through a time where he got really overwhelmed and had to reach out to one of the school counselors and relate to a couple of other students who had come from rural areas in order to adjust to that fast-paced lifestyle in that new college community, or new college culture, I should say. So, very good example. So I think that you'll be able to do some great self-reflection in those situations. The final slide I'm going to share with you is about cross-cultural relationships. So first, we need to understand that every one of us has a bit of, it's called ethnocentrism, and basically that is where we judge and evaluate other cultures based on our own, comparing it to our own. So we realize internally we all kind of have that. You may say no, you may say, oh, I'm very open minded, but we all do have a little bit of that. And I found that too in my research. Secondly, there is a desperate need for, cultural relativism, and basically being open minded to other cultures, adopt new values and norms based on this awareness. So, if there are other personal space issues with different cultures, if there are beliefs and rituals, religious type things, we want to make sure that our communication does not offend, whether it be verbal or nonverbal communication. We want to be very sensitive to others. And also, cultural competence is a developmental process, so it evolves over time. And we're not going to know all the answers when we first join our partnership. We're going to learn by experience, and we're going to continue to train as needed. So, just being aware of that is great. And basically, to summarize, with the organization, we're committed to developing and maintaining cross cultural relationships. And we're going to also consider this partnership. So, asking that you just do a self-assessment following this training course, and write down, what made you the person you are today, how your culture shaped you into who you are today, as well as giving examples that will help us understand the differences between cultures and how we're going to operate as an organization. So thank you again for joining today. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. All right. There'll be more to come, and appreciate your time. We look forward to this new partnership. I think it's going to be great, and you'll find that we're going to learn a lot. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Bye.